How you doing, folks? You're watching yet another dynamic episode of Onward with Onrie. I'm your host, Onrie Kompan, and today we're going to be talking about focus. And focus is, what I'm referring to by this is, we all get feelings of envy, maybe jealousy, sometimes when we're kind of going through periods of creative setbacks, or whenever we have to shift our focus, or whenever we're just trying to figure out what the hell we're doing. And today I just want to give you some general ideas on how to move past that and to help you refocus yourself in order to concentrate on what's important and keep your eye on the target so that you can, achieve the goals that you have set for yourself. So I want to, start this by mentioning that, the most important thing to do when you're feeling jealousy or whatever, kind of negative feeling you're in, is to understand that it's normal to feel this way. I don't care how high up you are on the food chain. We're all human beings, and we all feel, some sort of anxiety at times, and maybe jealousy towards other people who are, like us, who are, who are appearing to succeed more than we are. And when that happens, it's important to pay attention to what is going on around you, but you don't want to revel in it. All right. So, for example, let's say there's a writer out there who is pushing a new book, and the way he's doing it is, it might be so good that I look at it and I think to myself, man, why didn't I think of that? And I might become envious of that writer. I might think to myself, hey, this guy is getting ahead further than I am. It's important for me to pay attention to what he's doing, because I might learn something from what he's doing right. And but it's not important for me to revel in what he's doing, because he's his own person. He's on his own journey, and I'm on my own journey. And typically I don't understand why we feel the need to compare ourselves to other writers or other artists or anything like that. I don't really get why it's ingrained within us. But as long as you can understand and pull yourself away from the fact that it's and understand that it's okay to have these feelings, but not to get sucked up in them, I think it's perfectly okay to be, to have those kinds of feelings, and to accept that, they're there, and that it's okay, and that it's not going to destroy you. And another thing too is like, there's when you're working in a creative field, every standard that has been set for what we're supposed to do in order to be considered productive is sort of thrown out the window. A lot of creative people can spend days, reading comics or playing video games or watching movies, and it can still be considered work, because we're not doing these kinds of things the way most people are when they're just doing it for entertainment. When you're a creative person, you're doing these kinds of things, you're trying to learn lessons, you're trying to pick up on things that will help you better your story, better your characters, do all that kind of stuff. So it's important to kind of remind yourself that it's okay to, take societal expectations and throw them out the window, but to still be mindful of them as well, and I'll get to why. Now, as I'm telling you that, it's important to pay attention to what other creative people are doing right, you just don't need to compare yourself to them. Focus on becoming the best version of yourself that you can be. And that's really what this is about, looking at the kind of steps that you take as time goes on. When you look back on what you've achieved over the last 6 months, or the last year, or the next 2 years, you want to see progression within yourself. And I think if you see that, then that means you're on the path to becoming the best version of yourself. All right? And the most important thing, guys, is to enjoy the journey. This is, if you're in the creative field, and if you're in any field that you're passionate about, and you want to really revolutionize stuff, or you really want to just get out there and do something great, or you want to put yourself out there, it's important to love what you're doing, and to not look at it always as work, because the work the work comes naturally. The work should come naturally, and it shouldn't feel forced. When you force yourself to do it, it becomes a struggle. And it's important to enjoy the work, even with the intense deadlines and all these kinds of things. It's important to be able to feel good about the work that you're doing and to not have any regrets, because life is too short for regrets. You know, you can go through your whole life doing things that you absolutely despise and realize that it's not for you. And you know, I've met a lot of people over the years who got into the world of comics thinking that this was something that they wanted to do, and this is something that they felt that they had to be passionate about, until they realized one day that they didn't want to do this. And it's totally cool. You know, you have to love what you're doing, otherwise you're not going to achieve what you set out to accomplish. All right, so keep all that in mind. Stay focused. Worry about yourself. Don't worry so much about what's going on around you. Don't listen to what everybody's always telling you either. Some people, they have the best intentions in mind, but it's up to you to figure out what's best for you. You know yourself better than anybody else does, and that's a fact. All right? All right, guys, I'll see you next week with a brand new episode. Until then, onward to victory.